All right. I don't know, man. I don't know why that keeps happening lately. Every day it's been like a disconnect. I don't even think we were streaming for a long time. Dang. All right. Well, I guess what matters is we're back. Yeah, I should have probably restarted the router. It's a little too late now, but. All right. We dropped the link in the other stream.
Okay. So when you got over to the couch area and then you stopped and you took the mattress pad.
Not right away. First, I tried to adjust her neck. I just tried to open. My assumption was I was just making an assumption she was full of water, that if any positive thing could happen or if there's any way to revive her at all. I wasn't thinking. I realized it was unlikely, and at the same time I was trying to do something. And so, like I said before, I definitely tried to adjust her neck.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely grabbed her, and I think one of the other reasons why I probably came out of the bathroom like that is I ended up grabbing her by the hips to pull her the rest of the way, because it wasn't easy to get under her arms. But when I had her, when she was laying on the floor in the living room, I remember turning her on her side, and I remember lifting her at, kind of like when someone someone loses their breath. Have you ever had your breath knocked out of you?
Yeah.
The way you lift them kind of under their waist to try to get.
You gotta show over the bullet. Hey, Remy.
Did you say before when we talked about moving her by her hips? Yeah, I don't remember that either. All that detail. So when then you get her over there and you think that she's full of water, what prompted you to put her on top of the mattress pad?
It was cold, and I was trying to wipe her off and dry her off. I was also trying to get something under that I could put under her body to tilt her neck back, or her to get some kind of angle.
Well, think about what you've told us for a minute. You're an intelligent guy, right? I mean, you've obviously had a really good career at 3M, right? And you do real estate and sales and now home renovations. You're a bright guy. If somebody was telling this to you, wouldn't you, as an intelligent person, think that something's not right? Something's not adding up here. Because from what you are saying and what we've seen, it's two different things. So we just need to fill in the blanks. And I just need you to help us fill in the blanks. Okay? I know you loved and cared for Shanti, correct?
Very much.
You said, actually, I think that one of the first things I think you said was, I've never been more in love. We had such a good weekend. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And let me ask you about that. You've never been more in love. Like, what made you feel that way? What was so great about this weekend that
we hadn't, since the construction started in January, had, and then the appendicitis in mid-February, a time when either she wasn't extremely stressed and busy with work and uncomfortable with the surgery, and for despite the delays and everything else, also having the project, which was the most important thing after her company, on track. All of those things, starting with the text on Sunday and the design of the stairway that...
Yeah, but to say I've never been more in love...
It just seemed like almost all the obstacles had been removed and everything was alone. It just seemed like we were both agreed on the project. We were both happy with where things were going.
Okay.
We had a great time. We had Jackson. We had some personal time for the first time. And I did have to think about what you said earlier. I certainly had my hands. I always... It's our normal, I'm not joking her in any way, but I do always have my hands on her shoulder, here and here.
From behind or in the front?
Behind. I'm behind her, and I would have my hands.
On her shoulders?
Yeah.
In what circumstance?
Intercourse.
Intercourse?
You had asked if there was some thing during a position where I'd have my hands on her body and... On
her throat, specifically.
Okay, and I'm saying not throat, but you also just said any reason why you would have your hands, and I'm sorry if but I certainly did have my hands here.
And you're saying from behind?
And on top, yeah.
So your Saturday and Sunday, you would have been touching the tops of her shoulders during intercourse?
Correct.
Okay. Would your hands have any indication? And what I meant when I asked you that, David, is sometimes couples will play that game where it heightens an orgasm if you preclude someone from breathing for just a moment right before orgasm. It's like the choking game that they call it, where it heightens an orgasm if you choke one another. Do you ever do that?
We've never done it. And
okay.
We did see it on an episode of Californication or something like that. And
you saw an episode on Californication?
That I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it's called.
There's always like adding all this extra additional information, all this kind of stuff. But just shut up. If you did it, you did it, you didn't. It's like all this extra all the time.
Or anything that we've ever needed to experiment with. No.
Okay, so that was not something that occurred.
Correct.
Okay, all right, you can go ahead.
So I just want to point out some things to you that I think are unusual. There's so many, I really don't know where to begin, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that I find that the living arrangement, I find to be completely unusual for you to be primarily living downstairs.
I'm not primarily living downstairs.
Well, sleeping.
What I said was that I sleep down there, but I don't go down there till we're done with dinner, if we're done watching TV or doing what we've done for the evening.
Okay. But
I do sleep down there probably.
Okay, just hear me out.
Okay.
So you don't go upstairs during the day while she's working. You leave her alone, and then
not entirely. I do go up there.
Okay.
But I don't work up there while she's on the phone because it's distracting. It's her office.
Okay, and I understand that. But so you're not with her during the day upstairs. You go up there to have dinner and watch TV, and then you go back down to the garage.
Only after we've said goodnight and everybody else.
Okay, but you're a married couple. I mean, and her son isn't there every night.
And when he's not there, once in a while, but not every night, with her surgery, she was sleeping in a very kind of,
I understand
position.
that. I know you explained all those. So
she's already like tired of this guy speaking nonsense. You ever run into people like this? Just a lot to say, but nothing to say. I can't talk to people like this. A lot to say, but nothing to say.
I want to explain to you
It's not
what.
a permanent thing, is what I'm saying.
Still
When we lived
mumbling
with
and
Brian,
jumbling.
And when we lived with
So
her parents,
that's
she had to
unusual.
that.
I think the chain of events today I find to be unusual as far as primarily with what you've said and the contradictions in what you've said, as far as the water was trickling, to then explaining that the water it can't trickle. It's either all the way on or it's all the way off. There's no adjustment in the speed of the water coming out of the faucet. That was a direct contradiction that you made in your statement. The different versions of how she was in the tub. There's been 3 or 4 different accounts of how she was found, to how she was moved from the tub through the bathroom into the living room or the primary living.
Because I remember there was one where he said that like he had held her by her hands or something, like pulled her because he couldn't lift her, so he like pulled her and dragged her body. But then there was, I thought it kind of switched up a little bit when he was talking about like he had his hands around here or something, and he like lifted her but didn't, and then kind of pulled her but with her face down. I thought before it was face up. I don't know.
Area. There's been several different versions of that from what I take from listening to you earlier.
I've added more detail, but I don't think that anything, and I'm not trying to, I'm obviously not in a position to argue, but I thought every time we described what I saw, it was the same. And
then the primary thing is the fact that the injuries that this woman, sustained, that I saw on her, absolutely 100%, in my opinion, not possible from a slip and a fall in a bathtub.
You got to explain that, David.
You've said a lot. Can I have a chance to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you have a chance? That's all you've had. You've been there for hours.
This is not a one-way conversation.
Okay. Neither. So. Let's just start.
It's like a character.
Starting with the injuries, because that's our biggest concern. Is how do you explain this woman's head being swollen, her eyes being black and swollen, lacerations on her face where the blood has dried this way.
Oh.
Yet she's in a tub supposedly full with water.
Wow.
Clumps of hair missing from the back of her head.
Missing?
He's like, you don't know what's going on. He pretend like shocked.
Okay.
I don't have any explanation. This is what I found.
Look.
He must have done this his entire life and gotten away with shit. Entirely. He's like a child right now.
You clearly have no history. Looked you up in every system that I could find. I don't think by any means that whatever happened today was intentional, was planned, what was part of your character, of who you are, by any means. But I know, and you know, that something happened there today that caused this. Because it didn't happen from a slip and fall in the bathtub. It didn't happen that way, and you know that. And here's the thing. We have to have some kind of understanding from you. You're the only one that can help us understand what happened. Only you, because it was just you and her that was there today. You have to help us.
And that's why I've tried to answer every question.
But here's the thing, is every time you say tried, it means you failed. And you failed right now at helping us understand that.
I've told you everything.
You're missing parts, though. You're missing parts. Come on.
I would tell you, I have never, ever, and would never, ever hurt her.
I don't think you hurt her on purpose. David, I don't.
I would never hurt her on accident. It's not,
it's one of two things today. Okay. It was on purpose or it was an accident. You pick. But one of the two things happened. She didn't do this to herself, and there was nobody else there. What are we supposed to think? What you're saying doesn't make sense.
I'm saying I don't know what happened to her.
So when you pulled her out of the tub, you agreed with me that the water came out of the tub. There's not a spot of water on the floor, David. The carpet isn't wet. The carpet isn't wet from where she was pulled out of the bathtub, sopping wet, all the way around to the front of the couch. The carpet's not wet. There's no blood on the carpet. Average person would think if you pull somebody who has been in a tub with long brown hair, who's bleeding in a, what did you call it, rose-colored water in the tub, and you pull her out, water's going to come splashing out on the floor. It's going to splash onto the toilet, onto the vanity, onto everything in there. The little brown rug that was pushed off to the side is going to be wet. It's not, because that's not what happened. The evidence does not match what you're saying. And I understand that whatever happened today, like I said, was not planned, was not on purpose. Whatever happened, I'm certain was an accident. And that's why none of these details are matching up with what actually was there. So please help us to understand, because if you maintain what you're saying right now, do you understand that it just looks like you just don't care? You just have no remorse, no concern for what happened to your wife. If it was...
Amy, thank you for the 8 months membership. And by the way, guys, sorry for the connection thing. I really don't know. I'm at my... Every time I fix some issue, there's some other issue. So I'm not really sure. But we're back up. I'm going to try one more thing too. Another thing after, not in the stream. As far as some type of resolution to the random disconnects. Because it's just Streamlabs that disconnects. My connection keeps running here, so it's just weird. And so when Streamlabs disconnects, then YouTube disconnects. I don't know. But Amy, thank you, says, has it been determined if he was schizophrenic? He was in a schizophrenic episode during this interview. No, he wasn't able to stand trial 5 years ago because of diagnosis. I don't know if he was actually diagnosed. I saw that there was like hearings back then. I think we watched it yesterday where Shanti's son had spoken up and said that he thinks it's all BS. He's putting on some type of act. It does say here online that his lawyers claimed in 2021 that he was not competent to stand trial due to ongoing manifestations of the diagnosis of schizophrenia. You know, that's what his defense was saying. I don't know if it was actually where they got that. Did they hire somebody? I mean, obviously the trial's going on now and he's on trial, but yeah, like you said, during this thing, I personally think it's all BS. I think it's an act. It said the motion filed by the defense did not detail those manifestations, but do say that Tronnes meets the criteria for involuntary placement in a mental health facility under the Baker Act law.
It's one of, like I said, it's one of two things. She didn't slip and fall. That's out of the picture. It's not a possibility.
What happened?
You don't know.
You need to tell us what happened. Did you guys get into an argument? Was she pissed about the house?
No.
Was she? Did she catch you with another woman? Did she?
Another
She
man.
have a boyfriend? Did
No.
the stress of the house? I mean, David, I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't there to hear that conversation. Okay, I wasn't there, and that's why I need your help. You've got to help us understand what happened.
Hey, thank you. 12 months.
Because it's not slip and fall. You didn't pull her out of the bathtub like you said you did. Because there's no water on the floor. There's no splashing of water anywhere in the bathroom. The inside of the tub is dry. Completely dry. The tub doesn't dry that fast. It was warm in that apartment. It's not going to dry that fast. There's no water on the floor. There's no water on the carpet. Nothing. The only place where there's anything wet is underneath that mattress, the mattress pad, and she's damp. She's not even wet. Her clothes weren't even wet. So you didn't pull her out of the tub at 2:50 or 3 o'clock or whatever time. That didn't happen. It didn't happen. You know that. We know that. But what we don't know is the rest of what you know. And you have to help us understand that. What happened to her today? And I understand whatever happened clearly happened earlier today. And I get it. I mean, I'm sure it freaked you out. I'm sure it was very stressful, whatever it was, and you got to figure it out and wrap your head around it. And how am I going to handle this? What am I going to do? Oh my God, it's an accident. But maintaining this, I mean, and that's not everything, but that's just some of the stuff I can lay out for you that's just not matching up. Okay? Do you remember, it's a pretty big case in Orange County. Do you remember Casey Anthony?
Oh.
Okay? Regardless on what you think about whether she had anything to do with that little baby's dying or not, okay? What we do know is that everything that she said was proven to be a lie. From going to work at Universal, from all of the different things, so where she was, the nanny, the blah, 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 all the stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Long time, unfortunately, too long later on, they find that poor little baby in the woods, right? The mother clearly, the day she makes the phone call, says, I smell a rotting body, or whatever she said in the trunk of the car. If Casey Anthony had come forward immediately, or even when the mother first picked up on what was wrong with the car and said, I screwed up. I wanted to go party, I left the kid in the car, the heat killed the kid, okay? We can forgive people for accidents, for nearly anything. But what we can't forgive is when somebody maintains that lie and that coldness. We can't forgive them for that. And if Casey had come forward and said, you know what, it was an accident, she probably never would have been tried, or I don't know, whatever would have happened with it. It was Orange County's case, thank goodness. But we would have looked at her and viewed her a lot differently than we can ever do now.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to remember that, because this is going to be, it is already, the evidence is not aligning with what you're telling us. And I don't want you to think that I think any differently of you, or she does, or anybody else would think any differently of you if you come forward and you talk to us now about what really happened there today. Because she deserves to have the truth be told. And if it was an accident, if you guys were having sex, if it was rough sex, and if, you know, she passed out and then you freaked out, oh my God, let me try and revive her by putting her in the tub, you know, whatever. I mean, people do things. I mean, I don't know you at that level to know what's going through your head on whatever you want to try and help her. But what we do know is what was said is not what happened, because it's just not possible. So you've got to help us. Can you do that?
I've told you everything.
Oh no,
David.
Dave, come on.
Don't go down that path. It's not going to work out. She did not get pulled out of that bathtub at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
And you're missing an entire hour in your timeline.
Oh.
You're missing an entire hour in your
What hour?
timeline. From when you say you found her to when you called 911.
I went upstairs 5 or 6 minutes before I called 911. I don't know what time it was when I called them.
I know, but we do.
I know you do.
But you're missing almost an entire hour from the time you say you found her until the time you called us.
I don't think that's possible. I don't think there's a way that I could be.
I looked it up. I mean, I know what you told us. We both had it in our notes. We both looked at what time you told us, and we looked it up. What time we got the call. You're missing almost an entire hour.
I didn't.
Dave.
I tried to tell you everything that I did from the time that I came home until the time that I went up there. I didn't look at my watch before I went out.
At the time you called the police, one of you should have already been on the way to get her son. So you're missing a significant amount of time.
What time was it?
I'll discuss that with you at a later time, but it is almost an entire hour that you're David, you're going to get one shot at telling the truth. And you're really, really making this difficult on us. And it's not going to bode well for you. You're going to get one shot to tell the truth. And it's right now. Okay? It's right now. You've got to tell us what happened between the two of you. Because this is not looking good for you. Her injuries are way too severe.
I don't have any explanation for her, the severity of her injuries. I don't have any explanation, and that is also the part of this that frightens me the most. I don't have an explanation for that. There's nothing I can do to explain that without making something up, which is not the right thing to do.
For you to see the significance of her injuries up close and personal like you did and come up with this cockamamie theory that she fell and hit her head is just baffling to me that you thought we would believe that.
Cockamamie. By the way, the connection's back. When we're done with these videos today, I'm going to try something else too, hopefully, to see if that can help out. But yeah, cockamamie. Like, so now they're just completely calling his ass out. So what a word, right? Too. Like, I love that word, cockamamie. Like, you're just so out there, not even close. Cockamamie.
It's just baffling.
I don't know what happened.
That you had a significant amount of time to come up with something, but to think that we would buy that she slipped and fell in the tub and hit her head, and you saw how significant those injuries were. You saw it up close and personal. You saw the swelling on her face. You described how the severity of her eye, the cuts to her face. To think that we would think that she slipped and hit her head and had a significant eye injury like she does. Both eyes.
Both eyes?
Both eyes. Do you know how those injuries occur to the eyes like that?
No.
You strangled her.
Look at his face.
And that's what the medical examiner is going to tell us?
Y'all think
Because
it's
I've already
mental
spoken
health?
to the investigator.
Or he's just a liar and manipulator?
Crime scene folks, investigators were already there. I just got off the phone with the medical examiner investigator.
Or both. It could be both, too. Thank you, Annie. Thank you so much.
Detective, something you should know. There's nobody better at domestic violence than this detective right here. She knows what she's talking about. She's seen enough of it in her 20 years that you need to say what happened today. What did she do that made you so mad? Nothing. You just strangled her for no reason?
You're not a cold-blooded killer, David. That didn't happen.
Oh,
You're not a cold-blooded killer. You're not a cold-blooded killer.
She didn't do anything.
You guys are practically newlyweds. Okay? Something pissed you off. Something she said, something she did. Maybe you guys were breaking up, but you haven't been married long enough to sleep in separate beds. Something's going on between the two of you.
We're not sleeping in separate beds.
You're sleeping in separate parts of the house. You're sleeping in different buildings.
Yeah. You're not even on there's a giant couch.
I'm sleeping downstairs, and I have slept there.
But that's not what you've said. But you've said that you sleep downstairs. You go down there when the TV is off. You let her spend more time with her son.
They're asleep. What I said is when they go to sleep and the lights go off, I spend the entire evening. I make dinner with them.
I understand that. You're sleeping in different parts of the house.
Once we go to sleep, we don't.
The bed's big enough for the both of you.
Pardon me?
The bed's big enough for the both of you.
That has never been. That has not. The size of the bed has never been the issue. The issue is that she wakes up frequently. Sleep apnea causes her to wake up over.
Why don't you put another bed in that room then?
We already have two, and we have a large couch. So there's plenty of space there, but I do sleep better without listening to her snore. It's pretty much that simple. And she sleeps better without me moving around. So unless it's a weekend or a night when Jackson's not there, we don't even think about it. This has been working for us really well.
So when was the last time you slept in bed with her?
The weekend previous, when Jackson was with his dad on Saturday night.
And what was different about that night?
We enjoyed sleeping together. We did it too. We did it for all the reasons that anyone else does it. To enjoy being close to each other.
But when was the time before that?
Probably before the surgery, but for a long time during the surgery, I was sleeping on the couch upstairs.
So prior to her surgery, so I know the whole surgery thing took a big chunk of time there, but before the surgery, How often?
Every other weekend when Jackson wasn't there.
That's got to put a strain on a relationship. You are a newlywed couple, and you're only sleeping in the same bed together every other weekend.
That didn't mean that we could have sex more often than that just because we weren't sleeping.
No, I know, because, I mean, you don't work outside of the home.
Reminder, yes, don't work.
Right now doing the construction, and she's there, so, I mean, and it's not about the sex, it's just about the relationship of being...
We couldn't have, we wouldn't agree more. And we said it over and over, and that's why when we got the chance, we did do it. And for a while with the appendectomy, she was going back and forth from the bed to the couch. Before that, when we got this couch up there in January, I did sleep up there a couple of times, but we weren't pushing it. We had the house coming online. We had a master bedroom that we were designing, and that was part of what was sustaining us.
But even when you moved into the new portion of the home, you weren't intending to share a bed?
Of course we were.
Well,
You were? What would it?
That's what I'm saying, is when we moved.
Why would it be any different once you moved into the house? She's still going to snore.
We'd have a separate bedroom, and she had said she would either try the CPAP or she's tried a number of different retainers that open to keep your...
But David, why would she do it then when the house is done and not now?
Because it interrupted her sleep, like I said before. It's not an inconsistency.
I know, but if you're going to do it in the future when the bedroom's done, it's going to interrupt your sleep then. That doesn't... Didn't that upset you? Wouldn't... I mean, if my husband wouldn't do it now for me, but he says, oh, I'm going to do it in the future.
I didn't think about it that much.
Come on. Really?
Because
That seems very unusual to me. You are a newlywed couple, and it doesn't bother you that your wife is not willing to do what she needs to do so you can sleep in the same bed.
We're in the
I didn't
same.
allow her to sleep. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem like we're picking. It just doesn't seem like the things that you are saying are inconsistent. I think that I've explained extremely well. She didn't sleep. She did, but you said we could, if she would do it, that we could both sleep well in the bed. And what I had said earlier, and what she told me, is that she couldn't sleep with it. That she didn't sleep well.
No, I know.
That her sleep was that important, and I agree.
But she's going to do it in the future, which means she's not going to sleep in the future. So either way, she's not going to sleep.
I think it's an adjustment and a transition that she didn't feel like she could make right now because she couldn't afford the time that it would take.
And that didn't bother you?
Not that she didn't do it right now, that we were going to do it in the future. That was fine.
But she's sleeping in the only part of the residence that's semi-comfortable. You're sleeping in the garage with the dogs. And are you sleeping on a bed or on a couch?
On the couch that's down there.
Okay. And she didn't tell you to sleep down there?
No.
So you had an option.
Yeah, she wanted me to sleep over there as much as I could and as much as we could afford, and both get a good night's sleep.
So
and that's why we did start sleeping on the couch more. She was doing it after the surgery. I was doing it before the surgery. We didn't get that couch until January. The couch that we had before that wasn't as comfortable, but we did start doing it once we got the new couch.
You were sleeping upstairs or down?
I was sleeping upstairs more often, so one night during the week, and definitely on the Saturday night when we didn't have Jackson.
So the couch upstairs is new? Or the one downstairs?
New used. The upstairs one, yeah. We got it in January.
Like it's used?
Yeah. But it's a nice couch. It's comfortable.
Do either one of you have life insurance?
We both do.
You both do? Who's it through?
We purchased them through Patrick McCarty. He represents...
You spell McCarty?
Yeah, MCARTY.
And he works for who?
AXA, AXA investments.
Is he local?
He is local, and
Is his number in your phone?
yes.
When did you get them?
I got mine in November
Of what year?
last year.
2017? And when did you all get married?
In February 2017.
2017. When you say I got mine, you mean on yourself?
Yeah,
How much?
$1 million.
$1 million? And when did Shanti get hers?
She's had hers for quite a while. I don't know when she got it.
Before
She
the
had it
marriage?
before I met her. She had it during her first marriage.
And what is her policy worth?
Same.
Which is? Which is? How much?
I think hers is $250.
I thought you said same. I missed it.
I thought you said who is it through, and I meant it's through the same person.
Through Patrick McCarty?
Correct.
Did she have you call him because she already had a policy with him?
He's her advisor, and so as long as we've been together, he's been trying to get more business from me.
So you have $1 million on yourself?
Correct.
And how much was her policy worth?
I think it was worth $250.
$250,000. And she's had her since she was married to her ex?
They got theirs together. She kept hers on Jim.
She what?
She has a policy on Jim.
On Jim?
So she owns that policy. So
How much is that worth?
I don't know.
Who's the beneficiary on her policy?
I am.
You are? Not her son?
Correct.
Since she had the policy while she was married to Jim, when did she change the beneficiary to you?
Sometime after we got married.
Do you know when?
I could trace it back, but we went down there together. We went down to his office together to change it.
After you were married?
I believe so.
So sometime between...
Because her name, I believe she had changed her name at that point. So I think it was sometime between when we got married in February, and I think some of her name change stuff came through maybe 6 weeks or 8 weeks after that. Driver's license and that kind of thing.
So when did you go down and meet with Patrick in order to change the beneficiary, the two of you?
I don't know exactly. I'm saying it was, if I had to guess, I would say it was around 2 months after, so maybe April.
Of last year?
So it was several months before you got a policy through him.
Correct.
6 or 7 months before you got the policy for $1 million. Who's the beneficiary on yours?
She is.
Any other policies? Or just those two?
Just those.
Through any other companies? No?
The mic game. Or again, yeah.
The glaring issues, obviously, Detective McClellan's pointed out to you, and I don't know if she has any more points to make with you, but it's pretty evident to me that Shanti's been murdered. I've been doing this a really long time, David. This woman was strangled, possibly beaten. She's been murdered. And strangulation, as she indicated, in a domestic setting, strangulation with a woman is extremely personal. Women get strangled by people that they're married to or dating. It's very personal. It's very angry. Sometimes it happens because people black out, because they get so angry, they get blinded by their anger, and they black out and they just don't recall what happens. It's very common. And I've had several people tell me, yes, I put my hands around her throat and then I blacked out. I honestly don't know. When I woke up, she was on the floor. People get that angry. It is also very common when you come out of that blackout and you see someone on the floor that you try and revive them, that you drag them into the tub and try and wake them up. That I would totally understand. It's happened many, many times in my career. Okay. This woman was strangled and possibly beaten. She has significant injuries. Okay. Shanti's been murdered.
Look at him. He's just like...
This is not an accident. This is not a slip and fall.
No expression either. Nothing.
All her injuries tell us that. Okay. There is no one home but you. And this did not happen in the afternoon. Okay. She was barely damp. You did not pull her out of that tub at 3 o'clock. And honestly, I got to tell you, you've said many, many times that you couldn't lift her. She's 135 pounds. You're 6'2", almost 200. You could have picked her up out of the water, threw her over your back, rushed into the living room, laid her down, and started calling 911 and CPR. An hour went by before that occurred. Okay? There's no question in my mind you could have very easily, at 6'2", 190, grabbed her out of the tub, threw her over your shoulder, and ran into the other room. You're able-bodied, you're a man, and you're quite a big guy, especially for someone who's 5'7" and a $135. I could have picked her up, even at dead weight. She's not 250 pounds. Okay? Very easily. And the other significance to that is even if she was a little heavy, when people see a car roll on someone they love, they pick up the car. When you see a house burning and your loved one's inside, you don't think. You run into a burning house. Why? Adrenaline. So even if you couldn't lift her, even if she was 278, your adrenaline would have kicked in the moment you saw someone you love in distress, and you would have very easily whipped her out of that tub. Adrenaline does that for us. Would have been very easy for you, even if she was heavy, and she's not. Okay? Nothing that you've told us today happened. There's slivers of truth in every lie, and you've told us some significant slivers. There's sporadic truth in a lot of what you said tonight. Sporadic truth. We've pretty much figured out what parts are true. Most of it is complete fucking bullshit. Complete bullshit. And I don't think you're a bad guy. I don't think you're a cold-blooded killer. But I do think you killed your wife. And I don't think you meant to do it. And I don't have a problem telling the state attorney's office you didn't mean to do it. I don't have a problem telling the state attorney's office that you didn't plan this, that you didn't do it to get $250,000 so you could finish the house and live there with someone else. Okay? I mean, there's first-degree murder day.
They're one of those guys from the bathhouse. I like this detective. Yeah, they waited, let him talk. Now bringing his ass in.
David, there's second-degree murder. There's manslaughter. Okay? If you want me to go out and leave this room and prove that you stood to gain $250,000 so you could finish the house the way you wanted to, so you could move someone else in that you care about more, if you want me to go out and prove first-degree murder, that's an option. I don't think that's what happened. I don't think you premeditated this. I don't think you planned this. I think some shit went bad and you fucked up. That's what I think.
Let's go.
And I don't have a problem telling the state attorney office that. Okay? I think you made a mistake. I think you screwed up bad and you made a mistake and you tried to figure it out and cover it up. And her wrapped in that thing that she was laying on, that mattress pad, there was no need for that. You had her on the floor, on the carpet, in front of the TV. Anything you needed to do to her could have happened right then and there. There was no reason to move her again. No reason to wrap her in anything unless you plan to dispose of her body. Unless for a brief, fleeting moment, you thought about wrapping her up and getting her out of there and taking her someplace else. And then you realize you just couldn't do it. You're not that guy. You're not a cold-blooded killer. It's not like you go around killing women, okay? It's not like you're a serial killer. Maybe for a brief moment you thought about it, but there was no reason to move her. There's no significant change between where she is in front of the couch and where she is next to the bed. The surface is the same. It's just as hard. You're going to do CPR, you can do it in one place as easily as you can do it in the other. There's no reason to grab the mattress pad. There's no reason to put her on it. There's just no reason for it. And you've tried to explain it away and away and away, and it makes zero sense. You've made some significant errors in whatever plan that you decided to tell us that you've been making up all day. It's not jiving. We're not buying it for 1 minute. You got to tell us the truth, David. This is not looking good for you. And if you want me to go out and prove first-degree murder, I'll make you a cold-blooded killer. It's not a problem. I'll prove you withstood that you were going to finish the house with a 250 thing. Okay, that it'll make you look terrible, and you'll end up with nothing, and you'll face the first-degree murder charge. That's not what happened.
I think that's what happened. I think that guy's obsessed about renovating the house. He snapped on the woman. He had the whole bathhouse thing going on inside, allegedly. That bathhouse thing, leaving out tonight. No wonder he wanted to sleep downstairs. Got that little bathhouse shindig shit he's doing at nighttime, going in the bath, the other men and stuff. And obsessed with the renovations. He screwed it up. And she's the breadwinner. Auntie, thank you so much for the membership. Zero Cool, thank you for the membership. Appreciate that. Thank you for those gifts. Prayer Partner Eve, thank you for the 12 months. Says woohoo, happy to be here. And Cat C, thank you for the 8 months. Sled.
I don't think you did that. I don't think you're that guy. I've sat toe to toe with a lot of murderers who killed their wives and couldn't have given a shit. That's not David. David cared about this woman, probably loved her. She's a beautiful lady.
I don't think he did. I think it was
Beautiful
all
lady.
a ruse.
But we talked to her ex-husband. She's also a bitch. At least that's the way he described her. He told us how she can be. He told us how she can get.
What did he say?
He's curious about that. What did he say? He had nothing to say about all the other shit. When it comes about supposedly, what is it that the ex supposedly called her a bitch? That now his ears perked a little bit.
He told us how she can be. He told us how she can get.
What did he say?
He told us. He told us how she can be. He lived with her. He called her a bitch. More than once. Smart, ingenious, financial whiz, but she can be nasty.
So weird. He's just like a zombie.
We get it. These things happen. Okay? You wouldn't be the first noble, you'd be the last. But sticking to this line that you've given us today is going to make you look like a fool. The truth is going to be the only thing that minimizes what happens. It's got to match up, Dave. It has to. It has to be consistent with what we know. And that's how we're going to know the truth when we hear it, because it's going to match.
Get rid of the blanket. Soothing blanket. I don't know what's going on in his head. He realized screwed her, coming up with another story. I told you everything. If she leaned that chair all the way back, I'm done. That'd be dope from Stephen McDaniel. Jewel, I hope you're doing good. Awkwardness. Man. It's catatonic. Just like slamming on his door. Hey! See if he jumps or if he just stays still like that. Oh, she touched his leg?
It's okay.
Oh. She's trying to appeal at him.
It will be okay.
That guy don't give a ish. That had no effect on him.
We can't help you until you help us.
He's trying
I
though.
wouldn't spend this much time with somebody that we thought was just a cold-blooded killer and that didn't give a shit. I understand how difficult it has to be for you to come forward after making such a mistake. I get it. But you know, in your heart, what happened. And you know what the right thing to do is. What happened today, David? I promise you, you'll feel better. With all this pressure on you. And that's because you care. It's because it's not part of who you are. You didn't plan it, you didn't intend this. This was put upon you, and now you have to figure out a way to deal with it. What happened? What did she say? What did she do today that started the argument? Was it about the house? About her kid?
No, it's nodding no. Shaking his head no.
What was she mad at?
The bathhouse.
What was she bitching about?
Oh, she's like, what's she bitching about?
Money, finances, getting the house done, the dogs. I mean, who knows? Women get pissed off at everything.
Let it out, David.
I promise you, you'll feel better.
This is crazy.
You deserve to feel better.
Is he sleeping?
She's cheating on you?
She said, wait. Give him time. Oh, she's rubbing a little bit with her thumb. Oh, should I forward it? Why did they just stay like this 30 minutes long?
Thank you. I know you care. I appreciate that. We do, David, because we've been around so long. We just know we can tell how people truly are, and this is not your heart. I mean, this is not who you are, and I know you hate what happened. I know you hate it, and I know you wish you could take it back. And I know you hope that you wake up and this is a nightmare. And I know but until we hear the truth and some sort of remorse, I'm just not convinced that this wasn't planned. And I think I'm reading you pretty good. I don't think that's who you are. I don't think you've been planning this for weeks on end. Okay? So I don't think your intention was, financial. I hope that's not who you are. I hope that you're not some guy that just goes around and takes advantage of women for financial gain. Okay? I know there's some mean people on Match.com, but I hope that when we dig into your past, we're not going to find that you're going around taking advantage of women around the country. Okay? I don't think that's you. Okay? That's not like Scott Peterson who killed Lacey.
He's actually laughing at that? Because some people believe that he got with her for her money.
Find that you're going around taking advantage of women around the country. Okay? I don't think that's you. Okay? That's not like Scott Peterson who killed Lacey Peterson, who's got 4 or 5 different girlfriends in 4 different states.
Damn.
Okay? I don't think that's who David is. I think David made a mistake. And I don't think David needs to pay as severely as someone like Scott Peterson. I think David needs to tell the truth. And David's going to feel better about that, and then we're going to deal with what that truth is. And we're going to be able to figure it out together, okay? We can figure it out together, but I got to know the truth, Dave. We'll figure out the next steps. Just get it off your chest.
The rubbing thing might get a confession out of me, like the knee thing, or just like a little rub. All right. I guess they're being patient because it looks like he might kind of try and work him. I'll play just a little faster since they're not talking. So he's just chilling. He's like, I'll write it out. A little faster. That the inmates have their way.
Don't do it. I don't know how I know.
Sure you do. Because every time you close your eyes, you're thinking about telling us the truth. And every time you close your eyes, you're seeing this happen. You're never going to be able to close your eyes and not see this happen. The only way that goes away is if you're honest. It's going to haunt you. But all we have right now is what the evidence tells us, what Shanti tells us, and a whole lot of bullshit from you, and that's not going to work. Okay? Her body doesn't lie. People do. Unfortunately, fortunately for us, decedents do not lie. And you're going to keep reliving this over and over and over again, and it's never going to get off your conscience until you clear your conscience.
David, if it was a mistake and an accident, just explain that for us.
You didn't know your own strength. You didn't mean to do it. You know we know, and you know we're going to prove it. I just don't want to make you out to be some cold-blooded killer, because I don't think you are. And that's the one thing that we can be in control of here, okay? We can be in control of the narrative. We can be in control of, is this first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter? What is this? Is this an accident? What is this? We can be in control of that, okay? Her injuries are her injuries. They are what they are, okay? I can write that as first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, a mistake, an accident, you blacked out. I can write it however it is, okay? I don't like to make shit up. I like the truth. And that's all anybody wants in a situation like this, is the truth. And that's what her dad deserves. That's what her son deserves. That's what her grandmother deserves, her friends. They just want the truth. And you're close to her family. I'm sure you're close to her friends. I mean, what do we want these people thinking about you?
What do you want your mom to think about you? Your mother wouldn't want you to maintain this lie.
Because God forbid we paint you out to be some sort of monster. I mean, that's not fair.
And she's got to sit through that?
And she knows that's not her boy. I don't think that's fair to you. I don't think what happened to Shanti is fair either, but I don't think it's fair to you to make you some sort of cold-blooded killer monster who is out greedy for money. I don't think that's who you are. But those are your choices. You either made a mistake or you're a monster who didn't really care for this woman, who didn't love her, who married her because maybe she had potential to make really good money or had some money.
Yeah.
Or maybe for the life insurance.
The other way around, too. It's not just woman after guys. This guy's out there looking for women with money. Taking for a ride.
Who knows? I mean, that's what people are going to think. Unless we are able to say the truth.
Jeez.
But it's one or the other, Dave. You either made a mistake or you're a cold-blooded killer. Which one are you? Dave, was it a mistake? Was it an accident?
They ain't gonna say nothing. They ain't gonna say nothing.
What if we start from the top again?
Oh,
Top
please
again.
no.
You get up.
Well,
You
that'd be
take the
dope.
dogs out. Right? Where'd you sleep last night?
Downstairs.
Okay. And you got up. Was it light out when you got up? Did you have to pull the trash to the curb?
I did that the night before.
Okay. And so you're kind of milling around downstairs. She comes down at what time? You think?
He slouched. He just gave up.
I think it was before 7:30. I think it was after 7:15 or so.
Okay. She normally come down first to have a cigarette. It's like that. Usually the first thing she does in the morning. Okay. So she came down to smoke. What did you guys talk about?
Maybe the realization is it finally hitting him.
She didn't feel good. And she didn't feel like going to the dentist. And she was happy that she didn't have to jump on.
She had this major dentist appointment that morning, and she just happened not to go. And she's not like that. She didn't call him or anything. She just didn't show up. And he's like, oh, she just didn't feel like going.
Or do anything right away. And she just wanted to enjoy get a little more sleep or just do nothing for a while. And she finished her cigarette. She needed to do the things upstairs. She always does. And very normal, typical conversation.
Okay. How many cigarettes did she smoke?
It was probably part of one or
I'm sorry?
one or less. Is typical.
Okay.
So take us from that point and tell us the truth.
Well, that's true. Some of them charge no show. Even more than that, I've seen.
Are you religious?
Hmm?
Are you religious?
Yeah, she just asked him if he's religious. I think he said no. Oh, he said yes? Oh. Look, he's nodding yes.
Pray.
Or have you been?
So she goes back upstairs. And what are you doing? Any tension at that time? Anything? Okay.
So just we'll stop asking. Just start from the beginning. We'll give you a clean slate. Give you a clean slate. Just tell us the truth from that point on.
Yeah, I mean, he was so talkative before and had all these stories and and all kinds of explanations. Turn it down a little bit. Oh, okay, hold on.
We also discussed what I would do. We discussed that vendor list that I mentioned to you. I discussed that we were both tired and we both stayed up together late. I discussed how she was feeling, her stomach. And I did the same all routine that I always do. I usually wait for her to come down. Just to get a feel for what her day is going to be like. I actually check with her to see what, like I said before, what we can coordinate on. In a busy week, that might be all she had the time to talk about until she's done. As we don't have a landscaper or a grounds crew, I do everything with the yard, I do everything with the pool. But the main thing was just getting the dogs out of bed. We did talk about the courtyard, just what we're going to fill out, and as far as the data to put pieces of whatever out and some junk back that we want to get rid of. And like I said, we also talked about me going on a walk, get some exercise. I have a sciatica condition. It's not all the time, but when I do overdo it, it does slow me down. So usually walking is good for that. Relaxing is good for that. And that was very much the gist of it until I left.
Can you make out what he's saying? I mean, I'm getting bits and pieces. It's smart what they're doing, trying to see maybe he'll come around and confess, but he's not going to.
The only thing that changed when she came down is she just sounded more positive about going to the dentist. She had been on the fence. She'd been up for a while. She just seemed more positive. She told me to have a good walk, and Listen, don't.
I know somebody like that talks like really low and really fast. Like what? She's probably watching now. I'm just like, oh, bro.
Did you just say that was the last time you talked to her?
You didn't actually take the walk, though, did you? Yes or no?
Yes.
When you took the walk, was Shanti alive?
Yes.
Was she alive when you went to take the dogs to the park?
I don't know. From everything that I'm hearing about this.
Well, before we said anything, you told us you felt like she was deceased before you left.
I didn't say that I knew. I just felt like I thought she might have been.
You felt like she was deceased before you took the dogs to the park.
Mm-hmm.
What would make you feel that way?
Because she didn't go to the dentist.
So someone doesn't go to the dentist and you think they're dead?
Oh, you saw the smile on his face? I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's just kind of like
Dead?
No.
She told you she might not go. The normal thinking would be she changed her mind.
Or just that something changed or something happened.
Something did happen, and you knew something happened. That's why you felt it. And you didn't feel it because you're psychic. You felt it because you know. Because you knew. Before you left with the dogs, you knew she was deceased.
No, I said that tonight. But looking back on it now, with what we know.
You said that before we knew anything. You said that before we told you anything. It's one of the first things you said when we walked in.
That's not. You're twisting things. What? I didn't say that I knew in the morning.
No, you said you felt like it.
No, I feel like it now. After I knew she passed away. Not that I knew in the morning. I guess.
What would make you feel like she was deceased before you left? What would make you say that?
it's currently, well, at that time it's 4 a.m. They've been there, I think since like 10, or I don't know, 9 or 10, something like that.
I didn't have that feeling before I left.
No, what would make you say that to us?
I didn't say that to you. I said that looking back on it. I didn't say that I felt like that.
I'm not saying you did. I'm saying what would make you feel as though she was deceased? Why did you feel that way? Looking for where I wrote it.
Because I thought the shower had something to do with it. And that's what I said before. That's when she would
It almost does remind me of a McDaniel, like a different version of McDaniel.
be getting ready to go. I got the feeling that's what she was going to do.
Now I'm concerned she wasn't okay when I left.
Oh, they went back and pulled the notes.
That's not what I said.
It's not what you said?
She wrote it down.
Oh, no.
I didn't say it. The context to me is not what I meant or what I said.
Read
I'm
it, read it.
concerned that
Now I'm concerned
now. I'm sorry, I don't.
She wasn't okay.
when I left.
I would have to agree with you. I don't think she was okay when you left. Because when we got there, she should have been soaking wet. Her clothing should have been soaking wet. Her hair should have been soaking wet. The floor should have been soaking wet. The bathtub should have been soaking wet.
David, you're a smart guy.
This isn't rocket science.
Don't look like you're puzzled. You're a smart guy.
He smirked at that too, I think.
This isn't rocket science.
Don't look like you're puzzled.
Yeah, don't look like you're puzzled. We were playing a game.
You're a smart guy. That you know now.
You panicked.
And you panicked. Exactly. I'm sorry. And
The floor was wet.
no, it wasn't. No, it was not.
The bathroom floor is not wet. The tub's not wet.
You.
Next 50. Okay, let me see. The next 50 minutes exists only with the original audio. The audio recorder stopped working until the detectives took another break and restarted the recorder on their return. There would be a part 3. Okay, so I already have the other part. Okay.
I know that you didn't plan this because none of this makes sense. If you had planned this and this had been intentional, this all would have made much more sense and it would have been a lot more difficult for somebody to figure out. But it's so obvious. And that's why I know that it wasn't intentional on your part. And you're not a good liar. You're terrible at it. Terrible. Because none of this makes sense. Because it's not in your nature to be like that. You weren't raised like that. I'm certain that your mother instilled good values in you and did not raise you to lie and to make stuff up. And that's why you're terrible at it. It's not a bad thing. And because you know you want to do the right thing. For you and for her. It almost sounds to me like she treated you like you were
The help.
the help. That's what it sounds like to me. I got to do the yard. I got to take care of the pool. I got to do the work on the house. I got to clean the pool twice a day. I got to take care of the dogs. And I'm sleeping in the garage. So it sounds like what the ex said about her being a strong bitch.
What she say goes.
Yeah.
You're so mild-mannered that you don't want to stir the pot. You stand up to her when it's necessary, but you pick your battles. But I think you just want it to be right and good. You don't like to fight. I don't know if she called you a name or if she belittled you in some way or made you feel less than a man.
Well, he's smirking a little bit too. I don't know.
But my guess is she wasn't treating you very well. And there's only so much anyone can take before they snap.
But he's just like,
Or maybe you felt like she got what was coming to her.
You what?
Maybe you felt like she got what was coming to her.
I mean, to bump up the audio's kind of trying to maneuver a little bit. Okay.
What was it today? What was she upset about today?
Her tooth and going to the dentist. Or not going to the dentist. And how it was going to make her stomach feel.
Is she constantly complaining about her health or about one thing or the other? Is she kind of always sick, or is it kind of all about her all the time? Woe is me. Everything's about me. Take care of me. Come sit with me. Come smoke with me.
Stay in the bathroom with me.
Stay in the bathroom with me. We all know women like that. It's all about them and what you can do for them and what have you done for me lately.
And where, and I found it interesting when you mentioned that so she could have more time with her son. A husband should come first.
I see what they're trying to do. I mean, he probably sees through it. I don't know.
And then a child. Was that a suggestion of hers? Did she comment that she needed more time with her son? I mean, did she put you after him?
No, again, the comment was pretty clear. It was picking him up early so he could be at our home.
That's not the comment she's referring to.
No.
It was the one that you said you were sleeping downstairs so when Jackson was there, she could have more one-on-one time with him.
More personal time with him. I mean, was there ever a conflict because of her son?
Yeah, I don't remember saying that it was in any way in relationship vis-a-vis me, her having.
It was one of the things you mentioned, one of the reasons you were sleeping downstairs.
I did mention it, but what I'm saying is I do not believe that it was in any way having less time with me. It just seemed like these are all things that are made to stretch.
That was I remember a couple of years ago. That was the topic that's come up about the parents or the kids first or the parents first. And I remember I had different feelings. I mean, now that I'm single, I just think, but of course my daughter's first. But I don't know, if you're married or something, maybe a certain thing. I don't know. I'd have to really think about that conversation again. I mean, that's a whole nother thing too.
And prod into something that's not there.
Just asking. You made the comment that you sleep downstairs.
I mean, I don't know. I guess kids always come first, I guess, huh? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've never been married, so.
In the garage, so that one of the reasons is so that she can have more personal time with her son. If you're going down there,
we're all asleep. Okay, so I made it very clear that when we're all going to bed.
Right, but you also made the comment very clear that so she could have more personal time with her son.
I said on the half nights that he is there, because as
I don't think it has anything to do with the son, though. Okay, this is the last part here. This is 40 minutes. That's the last part of the interrogation. 11 years in one, and even my dogs came first. Damn. Well, I get that. People, yeah, they kill for the dogs. People kill for the dogs. People love the, dogs come. Some people, the dogs come before the kids. All right, let's go. Let's get started. By the way, this is a mentor lawyer. I put the link to the channel in the description.
going down there with it.
Okay, so I made it very clear when we're all going to bed.
Right, but you also made the comment very clear that so she could have more personal time with her son.
I said on the half nights that he is there because as a parent and as a child, when you only have partial custody, it's completely normal and completely natural, I think, to feel like you don't get enough time with your mom when you can only be with her 3.5 nights a week. Every child's going to feel that way. Every child is going to feel
Nobody
that way.
said that any different.
Well, what does that have to do with you?
I don't think it had anything to do with me. That's my point, is I don't think it had one thing to do with me. But I wasn't leaving her up there alone, and I wasn't leaving her, I don't think we were depriving our relationship because they slept in the same room and woke up in the same room. I don't think that changed. I really don't think that changed anything, but they did have a nighttime routine. As far as what time and exactly what he was going to do the next day. And as a step-parent, you're not as involved in every one of those specific decisions as the biological parent is. And
Does his stepmother at his dad's house sleep in the same room with his dad? Or does she sleep somewhere else? Because I think to an 8-year-old kid, that's got to be very bizarre. My mom married this guy, but he doesn't sleep in the same room. I think it's very nice.
all the time. You're making a global universal statement on something that isn't.
Well, there's more.
And I think he understands that we
Okay.
do things sometimes. In fact, sometimes he would want to have a night where we stayed up watching movies and we would sleep together. We hadn't done that since the house. We had done that for about 1.5 years since the house had switched, but we were talking about doing it more. I just don't want to paint those things to be any. You're right. That's not who I am. I would never look at something that's so understandable and so benign and think something.
Then what happened?
But you're also not investigating someone's murder, and we are.
I granted.
Okay.
Granted.
Okay, and
I
so.
don't think we need to exaggerate any of the
And
points
we're-
that I make clearly
and
or
listen,
say they're discrepancies.
And had you walked in and told the truth several hours ago, we'd be done by now. We haven't heard it. Okay? So forgive us for grasping at straws and maybe trying to choose.
I do.
And maybe trying to choose things that mean nothing. And I think we're kind of grasping at straws because we're not hearing it, Dave. I mean, you can walk in and this can take 15 minutes and you just got to say, I screwed up, I made a mistake, and this is what happened. But we have not heard that from you in a very long time. And that's why we keep going over it and over your past statements and over everything you've told us, because there's sliver of truth in every lie you've said tonight. Sliver of truth in all of it. So maybe we're hitting on that, making it a big deal, and it's not a big deal. But we're missing something.
Maybe it was extremely stressful to walk in and see your wife in that condition. And if I miscalculated marginally the amount of water that was there, she was certainly wet. She was certainly.
I don't know why you would have been shocked seeing that when you knew she was deceased before you left.
I didn't say I knew she was deceased before I left. I didn't say that until tonight, that looking back on it, that I thought it was more likely she had gotten in the shower before I took the dogs than after. That's all I said.
She over here like, I don't understand why you'd be shocked. You knew she's dead. You did it. So why are you talking about right now? Well, what, maybe I was shocked, so I miscalculated the amount of water that was there or not. And they're talking about, because I guess when the police or whoever got there, he had claimed that he had just found her like that, and he pulled out of the water and all this stuff and trying to position her and do all this stuff so there would have been water everywhere. But when they got there wasn't really much water. And the body was already in rigor mortis. That situation happened hours. I think even the report said probably the night before or the morning of, like early morning hours before he actually called 911. All right, so she's over here kind of like, why would you be surprised? you put the body on.
Okay, look at.
So I was still.
Dave, she
surprised when
didn't. She didn't stick her foot in the shower and slip. That didn't happen.
If she did, she would have fell backwards.
And you didn't find her at 3 o'clock. That didn't happen.
Yeah, come on. You still with this shit?
You don't know that? Common sense would tell you if you pull a woman soaking wet out of a tub at 3 o'clock and call the police within 6 minutes, that everything will be soaking wet when the police arrive within 3 minutes of that.
Yeah.
That's common sense.
So how did everything dry out?
That's our question. Because she wasn't pulled out at 3 o'clock.
You the one
It
that
didn't
knows.
happen.
Nope.
See, I can't talk to people like this. I couldn't. I mean, bless these people because that's their job. I don't think I could be a detective because I couldn't do this shit. Like I cut it short. Like we're done. I'm not gonna keep going in circle with you for hours, bro.
There's a science behind evaporation, and that science is not matching
It's not magic.
3
Okay?
o'clock.
I can take a
Science.
shower at 6:30 in the morning, and at 10 o'clock at night, my towel's still wet. The shower even stays wet. I mean, it's just common sense.
It's just gotta be an act. Like this puzzled look in his face. I don't know. I couldn't do this shit for hours, bro.
The water was definitely filled up to where you said, but not at 3 o'clock.
That's the sliver of truth. There's blood in the water. There's another sliver of truth.
Mm-hmm.
They're good at what they do, though.
I know you think you thought of everything, but you didn't.
I don't think I thought of everything, and I've told you over and over, I don't know.
You do know. You have to stop saying you don't know, because you do know. You do, David. You do know. You know exactly what happened, because it was only you and her there. There was nobody else there. Nobody.
I don't know what happened when I wasn't there.
No, I'm sure.
There had to have been close to well over an hour in the morning that I wasn't there, and well over 2 hours in the afternoon that I
Right,
wasn't
that's
there.
very possible that you left the residence. However, when you were there, whatever happened to her happened when you were there. It didn't happen when you were gone. It happened when you were there. And I wouldn't expect you to know what happened when you were gone. Nothing happened when you were gone.
She was already deceased.
Talk around in circles. Trust me. The evidence and her body speak for itself. And your story is BS. So you better figure it out before it goes too far. Because I'm telling you right now, nobody is going to believe that. Nobody. If you maintain that, you're going to look like a fool.
A fool.
Picture telling that story with your mother sitting there listening to that
Oh, we saw this part. Yeah.
trial. You're like,
As it's picked apart by as everything you told us is picked apart by everyone who testifies.
and we haven't even hit on everything.
We're holding some of it back, waiting to hear the truth. People can be sympathetic when they hear people be honest and remorseful. They can be empathetic to a situation that gets out of hand. But when people lie for hours on end and say, I know nothing about nothing, I don't know how she got that way, I thought she tripped and fell, I wasn't home, I was here, I was there, conveniently, you're not there. It's complete hogwash.
And we haven't even got the medical examiner's findings from the strangulation and all the things that go along with that. It's science. It's not guessing. It's medical science.
Plus everything we've done at your home tonight. We're still there.
So what time did it happen? Was it before you took the dogs or when you came back? Let's start with that. What time did this argument ensue? I'm gonna go with, from the story that you told us, I'm going somewhere around 11:30.
PM or AM, she's talking about.
11:30, 12:30-ish.
Oh, that day, I guess.
If you went for the walk around Lake Lucerne, Lake Davis.
Which we'll be able to prove.
Yep. If you did that and came back, 10:35, 10:45 would be real close. Both cars were there, so I figured she decided not to go to the dentist. I told her I was going to take the dogs to the park earlier to play frisbee. I took dogs for a short walk, measured something to do with the stairs, looking to see how much room was left, and then took the dogs.
And you
to the
may
park
have done that, but I don't think you did it at that moment.
at 11:45.
There's a sliver of truth. Maybe you measured the stairs, but not in that moment.
Do you guys normally text each other during the day at all? Like if you go somewhere, you shoot her a text, hey, I'm here, do you need anything at Publix? Pick you up lunch?
Thinking of you. Have a good day. What time are we going to get Jackson?
Sometimes, but we're so close. She would usually come down. She would usually do that at Mama when she was free.
I find it very odd. We've all been in relationships in this room. That your last communication with her via on the phone was the day before. The evening of the day before when she tells you that Jim's on his way. I find it very odd that at no time at all on Tuesday that you all communicate via phone. That you're gone on the walk for over an hour, that you're at the park for over an hour and a half, or an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. And there's zero communication between the two of you the entire day until you say you found her just after 3. Not a phone call, not a text. Nothing. My assumption is you don't call or text someone you know isn't going to read it. Can't read it.
Bigger.
It's all going to show in a pattern. And when the pattern breaks on Tuesday,
It's going to look very, very odd. They communicate every single day. But on Tuesday, her communication stops on her phone at this time, and oddly, so does his.
David, what we're telling you with all of this is it's all going to come out in the wash. It's all going to come out. We're trying to afford you the opportunity to say what happened.
And
Because
don't,
we know everything but that right now. We know that something happened between you and her. She's dead. She's murdered, intentionally or otherwise. She's dead. The evidence on her is it is. The evidence in the apartment is what it is. We can't rewind. I know you wish that you could rewind today. Believe me, I've had those days. Probably not to this degree, but I've had those days. But you can't. You have to move forward. And the best course of action for you is to tell the truth. What happened? This BS about 3 o'clock and tubs and it's crap. It's crap. You know it's crap. It's a crappy story.
Yeah, he's just frozen.
Yeah, you don't know what happened when you were gone. I get it. But you know what happened when you were there. And that's what counts. Don't make it worse on yourself. You have to carry on. You still have your whole life to live. You still have your whole life. Where do you want it to go? How do you want it to proceed? You can't change the facts from today. You can't. The only thing you can do is improve on them, and that's by telling the truth. I know it seems like crazy, like holy shit. If I tell them what happened today, it's not going to be great. Who wants to admit that something happened and somebody died? Nobody wants to do that. I get it. But maintaining this crappy story is going to make it look like you don't give a crap about your dead wife. Think about where you want to be in the future. You still have a future. Now's your opportunity to make it the best it can be.
Do you want to elaborate on that? What do you mean? What do you mean I still have a future?
You still have a future. You still have a life to live. You're still breathing. You're a young man. You still have the rest of your life to live. I can't tell you what's going to happen to you. I don't know because you're not telling the truth. I can tell you that she's a lead detective in this. And if you maintain this BS, she has one choice to go with.
the narrative I choose to write, based on the facts that we know,
Right.
whether it's true or not.
But it's what we have.
He's not buying it, but he already fell when he started doing all
You
that.
don't want me to surmise what happened, do you?
When he started doing all that talking for hours and hours and hours, and then they flipped it on him. you know, now he's kind of like staying quiet, realizing he pooped on himself. And somebody asked in the chat too, why doesn't he get a lawyer? I don't know. After all those hours, why didn't he get a lawyer? One of the things that I could think about is there's a terminology. I'll think of the terminology. It's a terminology that can be used for a lot of different situations.
Just based on evidence, testimony. You want me to tell your truth, or do you want to tell your truth? Because if I tell your truth, it's probably going to be first degree, premeditated, and I'll make you probably look like an animal. I don't think that's fair, but you know, you're
sunken cost fallacy. Just like this guy keep talking, sunken cost fallacy. You can do that in a relationship. You can do it with anything in life. Sunken cost fallacy. The phenomenon where a person is reluctant to abandon a strategy or course of action because they've invested heavily in it, even when it is clear that abandonment would be more beneficial. I mean, at this point, I mean, asking for a lawyer, it's kind of a little late in the game now, all these hours. But yeah, I don't know why at this point why he wouldn't have just gotten out of there or got an attorney.
not leaving me a lot of choice.
I think now it's too late anyway. But
Okay.
And then what happens?
You face the music.
Which is?
You face the music. You face a jury of your peers. You gotta understand, we're in control of the narrative here. You and I and Detective McClellan are in control of the narrative here. We're gonna know the truth when we hear it. David, we've been doing this a really long time. Okay? We're gonna know the truth when we hear it. It's gonna match what we already know. We've been extremely patient with you.
You're not going to be able to just BS your way out of this. You're not going to be able to maintain this and think it's going to go away. It is not going to go away. The hardest point for you to deal with is right here and now. Right here and now. This is the pinnacle. From here, you choose. I know it doesn't seem real, and they probably think, well, why would she be telling me the truth? Why would she be sitting here to try and help me?
I thought I was about to start yawning the guy. I was like, oh, snap.
Because you're not the kind of person that we've both dealt with in the past. You're not that person. I could be home sleeping. I got a kid at home. No, don't be sorry, because this is my job. And I put forth what I think people deserve. And I think you deserve that. And I can't imagine how hard it is to sit there in your chair right now. But I know you have the ability, I know you're a strong enough man to step up when you made a mistake.
You crying or yawning?
I'm overwhelmed. I appreciate the many kind things that you've said.
I'm missing what you're saying because of your suit that you're moving, but I'm kind of missing it. It's really loud, but I didn't miss what you said because you're talking so low.
I'm sorry, it's probably I appreciate the things that you've said and the genuine consideration and thoughtfulness behind it. I don't know what else I can say right now.
The truth.
The truth, right? I don't know what else I can say right now. The truth.
I feel like everything that I have said, and I know you don't want to hear this, you told me over and over, the things that you call discrepancies still ring true and are, if not perfectly accurate, directionally correct to everything.
If not perfectly accurate, directionally correct?
What? You're talking about things like evaporation rate and how wet something was. If I miscalculated how wet.
Direct.
Hold on. Okay, I hit it again, bro.
I feel like everything that I have said, and I know you don't want to hear this, you told me over and over, the things that you call discrepancies still ring true and are, if not perfectly accurate, directionally correct to everything.
If not perfectly accurate, directionally correct?
What? You're talking about things like evaporation rate and how wet something was. If I miscalculated how wet.
Directionally correct? I don't know if I know what that means.
It's just doesn't mean anything in this context.
Okay.
And
There only seems to be one thing, and I don't have that for you. I don't have the information that you're looking for. I'm so sorry.
you don't have the truth? David, you killed this woman.
I cooperated so I could give you all the information and all.
You cooperated because you thought.
And it's just crazy that he has like no reaction. He's straight out saying, like, straight out now, you killed this woman.
David, you killed this woman.
I cooperated so I could give you
Robot.
all the information and all.
You cooperated because you thought that your language would overwhelm us, and you thought you could pull the wool over our
I
eyes.
don't think there was any effort to do that.
All these tangents, all this flowery,
Tangents
fancy
were
language,
answers to questions.
all the
that you
details.
asked, to questions that you asked. That's
Many.
I
You
misinterpreted.
know how many
that.
interviews I've done in 20 years? Hundreds.
Okay.
Okay? And I know the truth when I hear it. Hundreds. Especially from someone who should be acting one way and is acting another. Okay?
And is acting what?
You know, you fake cried for about 7 or 8 hours today. Not one tear came out of your eyes. Not one. Not one. Not on scene with the officers. Not in this room. You have fake cried over this woman's death since we made contact with you for hours. And every single time you fake cried, we wrote it down. Not one tear came out of your eyes. Not one.
Nope.
Okay? We've been extremely patient with you for a very long time. I am losing my patience at this point because there is not a lick of remorse for what you did to this woman. Not even a little bit. Okay? I'm really starting to believe you wanted her dead. And I'm really starting to believe you planned it. David, because not a lick of remorse. Not even a little. You sat there for the last 2 hours and stared at her picture and you haven't cried. Not one tear. You're staring at a woman you're telling us you're in love with and you've done nothing the whole time. But close your eyes, huddle up, and protect your own ass. And that's all you've done. You've not shed one tear on that picture. Not one. You claim to love that woman. I would be under the fucking table in a ball if I was in love with that woman and she was dead. I would be inconsolable. I wouldn't even be able to utter the words or talk to detectives for 6 or 7 hours like you have. Okay? You've not shed one tear in that picture. And you've been staring at it since she presented it to you. 2 hours ago. Over 2 hours ago. You are not remorseful for what happened to her. You could give two shits about what happened to Shanti tonight. Okay? I told you she was murdered. Murdered. Someone took her life from her. And there's nothing. You can't even fake it. That's how much you could give a shit. You can't even fake it. I know you think your theatrics and your maybe some drama that you've had in your past was good. It was terrible. The officers on scene didn't believe you, and neither do we.
Wow.
You fucked up. That's the end of it. You screwed up. You made a mistake, whatever it is. I'm starting to believe it wasn't a mistake. I'm starting to believe that David wanted this chick dead. For whatever you might gain, for control, creative control of the house, so you can direct the build. I don't know what your motivation would be, but I know you stand to benefit. I know that the show that's going to happen is now yours. That all the decisions that are made are now yours. The $250,000 you tend to inherit, you can build the house of your dreams. Maybe never work again. I know there's motivation. Is it the accurate motivation? Maybe not. Is it what I'm going to paint you as? Probably. Because there's no more arguments over the house. You have complete creative control. You get the TV show. You get the $250,000.
Talk about the TV show as well. Yesterday, I think.
You get it all.
I don't get anything.
And you get to sleep where you want to sleep. You don't have to sleep in the garage with the dogs.
Are you kidding? I don't get anything.
You don't have to deal with her son.
How do you not?
The house is in a trust in your name. You never even filled out the notary paperwork to get her name on it. It's in your name.
Mm.
You understand? You get everything. You don't have to put up with her. You don't have to. She doesn't have to. You don't have to listen to it anymore. You don't have to sleep in the garage with the dogs anymore.
On a couch.
On a couch. You don't have to deal with it. She's finally out of your life, just like you wanted.
If your Lexus back.
Get your car back. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to listen to her telling you how she's working her ass off and you're not doing shit.
And clean the pool when you want. Not mow the grass.
For 3 years she's been bitching about it. You know what Jackson said? If Dave would just listen to me, that's what his mom says. If Dave would just listen to me, this would get done. He even mimics her when she says your name. And he does it perfectly, just like Shanti did it. If he just listened to me. But you don't listen, apparently. She rules the roost. She's a pain in the ass. She wants it done her way.
She wants flat ceilings and flat floors.
Okay? She probably set the build back by God knows how many months because she didn't listen to you.
And bitched about having to live in one room for 18 months.
She bitched about it. Her son told us she bitched about it. His father told us she bitched about it. And she blames you. She has blamed you the entire time. And after 2 or 3 years of hearing her bitch, or 2 years or a year and a half, however long you've been in that house, of hearing her complain every effing day about that house, and blaming you, belittling you, forcing you to sleep with the dogs in the garage.
Talk about being in the doghouse.
Treating you like the hired help. Take out the trash, clean the pool. She treats you like a landscaper, like the pool boy. She doesn't treat you equal. Probably because she's bringing in the money.
Oh, no reaction, nothing.
Or is it something else?
Bathhouse, man. It's gotta be nothing. He reacts to nothing. This should have brought up the bathhouse. I don't know if they knew about it at the time.
And when we're done talking
Allegedly.
to her friends and going through her phone and talking to her family, and they tell us all about your relationship.
And video.
You gotta get a reaction out of
And
him.
we
Bring up the
prove your
bathhouse.
story is full of holes. And we prove when she died. And we prove where you were. Because honestly, after today, I mean, you've had ample opportunity, David, ample opportunity to tell us the truth. Okay? No one's going to accuse us of not giving you ample opportunity to tell the truth. Because you've had it. You've had a lot of it. So we're just going to prove you're full of shit and solve this case. And I'm glad you think that's funny.
Ooh.
I'm glad you think that's funny. I'm glad you think that's funny. Okay? Because every time you smirk and smile,
Smirking and smiling.
okay,
We've seen you.
that's going to be seen as well.
Then what do you think? What happened? What happened between you and her today that caused it to end like this? What did she say to you? David, this is your life you're talking about, that you're closing your eyes through.
I'm not being disrespectful.
I don't think you're being disrespectful. I don't care about a level of respect right here. I think you're being ridiculous by closing your eyes when you have to think about what's ahead. It will prove where you were when she died. And when you are found to be at that residence when she died by being murdered, and you were the only person there, figure it out.
Zombie house flipping testimony. If that guy testifies, we gotta watch it for sure. If this guy Dave testifies, I'll try to look into some key moments. I don't want to watch the whole thing, but because we have a big trial coming up, but we can kind of skim out, look through some of the big stuff. I don't know why he tore that house down.
He's motherless. Motherless. He's 8.
Yeah, he's like shut down now. About 5 minutes left of this. Medical examiner was interesting. April, he's gonna flip his cell or be flipped in a cell. Nah, I don't. I'm not. I can't. I mean, if you guys want to watch the trial tomorrow evening, I might look at some key moments. Maybe we can hang out for a bit and watch some key moments. I can't start the entire trial tomorrow. I mean, I'll definitely keep you guys posted, but there's no way we're gonna try to catch up from day 1 to 4 in one day. I'll just try to look up some key moments. But if you want to start from day 1, or if you want to start from day 4, you can. That's you know, if you want to do that. I might just look at some of the key testimonies and then plan it out one night, and we can hang out and watch it for those that want to do that. Yep, it's trial going on now. Today's day 4. Yeah, it started I think last week, but today's day 4. Yeah, I can speed it up a little bit. Pretty much over. Let me see. Especially if they're just gonna sit there.
Look at Jackson, how happy he was. Now think about what you took away from her, or from him. You're kind enough to let them spend time together, quality time together. Now what do I tell Jackson? David's a monster.
I heard about
A man
Billy.
living with your mom, who took your mom to the courthouse, swore to love and protect, honor, who said vows in front of God to do right by his mother, lied his ass off and killed her for the money. What do I tell Jackson? Jackson knows you guys fight. He knows you argue. He's young, but he's bright.
Did she bang the table? Oh, what was that? I've been saying for a while, somebody needs to like bang that and see if we like kind of any kind of reaction. It kind of, you know. I think if it's like nerves, or if any kind of reactionary nerves or nerve endings or anything. Yeah, slam that shit. I think she's supposed to slammed it. I would have did that like 5 hours ago.
Are we boring you?
What she say?
Are we boring you?
Yeah, it's about time somebody slammed that table.
Look at his picture, David.
I have over and over.
He doesn't react either. He's just like he's drugged or some shit.
How do you explain this? What are you going to tell Jackson?
Yeah, he's useless.
If you're going to sleep, I'm going to start writing.
It's 4:54 in the morning over there now. Time like while the recording is on. Oh, she's showing him a text or her a text. I'm forwarding it. that's it. They're done.
By all means, take a nap while your life's hanging in the balance.
Oh, shit. Se acabó. Wow. He goes to sleep. Or I guess. Wow. So we made it to the end of the interrogation. I think it was like 8 hours. We started yesterday. Thank you guys for watching. That trial is currently going on. So if you want to watch it from day one, you can. Like, you can go to Law and Crime. I don't know if I know Court TV is doing like highlights and stuff. Ooh. Dick sent me something from Court TV. 2 attorneys who initially represented David Tronnes in his murder case are accused of hiding evidence for nearly a year. Wow. Amazing. Oh, sorry. Wow. I don't know what's gonna happen these next couple days. What, as far as just like for the channel in general. We'll see what happens. I think maybe tomorrow at some point, because every day new stuff happens. Tomorrow, maybe I'll go over some of the last couple of days. And if people are still interested, we can just go over some of the highlights. I think it's just going to be way too much for me to be like, let's start from day one now. Try to squeeze in 4 days within like a day or two, and then try to catch up. And then there's a trial at the end of the month. Like, I don't want to put that kind of stress on me. But I think that we could just pick highlights or whatever, like key testimonies. Court TV is going to premiere something about the house flipper, the guy that was in Dave's house and was like working with him for a little bit. They're premiering that, so maybe tomorrow we could watch that. Maybe the medical examiner or something like that. Just a few hours or whatever, and call it. And then also we'll keep an eye out for the story we covered earlier. Chelsea Grimm. So far, I haven't seen any updates on that since we covered it. We do another quick check. Chelsea Grimm. We'll keep an eye on that. If there's any chases or anything crazy like that, definitely the second channel. Make sure you check me out, which we're working on growing it. Well, yesterday we covered a manhunt on there, which they're pretty good. Not bad. Covered a manhunt, Ichamil chases and cases. And some people have told me that it's kind of tough to tag because you have to type out the entire thing. So I'm going to change this, but I have to wait a few days. I have to wait like 9 days, but I'm going to change it to Ichamil CNC, something like that. So it's just easier to type out. So for now, you just have to bear. But yeah, yesterday we covered this manhunt, and I was actually checking to see if these 4 guys escaped from prison in Georgia. I don't think there's any updates. I think they're still on the run. Let me double check real quick. But if there's any chases tonight, we're going to be on that channel doing it. 6 hours ago. Yeah, they're still gone. Still on the run. Okay. During a news conference Monday. We watched the news conference already. Okay. So we'll see if there's any other new update. Oh yeah, that's that whole thing where they got like, there's like 800 prisoners or something and like 10 staff or less than 10. I'm like, damn, bro. CC Music Factory. So yeah, check out when you have a chance, just subscribe if you have time. I'd appreciate it. The second channel. I'm gonna chill right now, cook dinner, homework with the baby, relax. But I'll be around the house, so if something pops off, we'll come back. All right. Love you guys. Bye. Adios. Bloop. We need a chase. We really need a chase. We need some action. Okay. Trials coming at the end of the month. I'm gonna make an interrogation playlist. I don't know if I'll get to it tonight. You know, there was one time we were watching an interrogation and the person that was being interrogated literally called into my show. Like, he prison called his girlfriend and his girlfriend called my show. it was wild. So I need to make a playlist, put all that stuff together, so people that want to just see the interrogations can check that out.